All right, and we're back. Well, I hope everything went well yesterday. As you guys talked through the different sales price and discount and hopefully figure out some things there. I want to apologize right now. As I'm making this video, my wife is coming here. We're going to go out to eat. It's Friday night. It's 6 o'clock. And so if my phone rings, again, I apologize. So just saw, I don't know if you heard about this that happened the other day. I was looking through some things and came across this article. It says, teacher arrested at JFK. Did you guys hear about that? Let me read about it here. It says, a public school teacher was arrested today at John F. Kennedy International Airport this morning as he attempted to board the flight while possessing a ruler, a protractor, a compass, and a slide rule and a calculator. Now, I know that none of you know what a slide rule is, so you can actually go over to YouTube and YouTube slide rule. Your parents probably have never used one, but it's actually something your grandparents probably would have, so you could ask them as well. At the press conference just before noon today, the Attorney General Eric Holder said that he believes that the man is a member of the notorious Al-Jibra movement. Sounds scary. Although he did not identify the man, he confirmed the man had been charged by the FBI for carrying weapons of math instruction. Can you believe people do this these days? My goodness. Algebra is a problem for us, the Attorney General said. They derive solutions by means of and extremes and sometimes go off on tangents in search of absolute values. They use secret code names like X and Y and refer to themselves as unknowns. But we have determined that they belong to a common denominator of the axis of medieval with coordinates in every country. As the Greek philosopher Isosceles used to say, there are three sides to every triangle. The Attorney General went on to say, teaching our children sentient thought processes and equipping them to solve problems is dangerous and puts our government at risk. Can you believe what happens these days? All right, I hope that little story there brought a smile to your guys' faces before we get off and do some serious work on finances and tax and gross earnings and net earnings. And I know taxes are not fun to talk about. In fact, if you bring them with your parents, like, ugh, tax season. You know, nobody likes to pay taxes. And here's the deal. We all have to pay taxes. We all need to pay taxes because we have to support the infrastructure of our country, whether it's our roads or our schools. You know, I know some of you in this room think that education is not that important, all right? But I'm telling you right now, it's a means to something better. And I'll be honest, when I was in college, sometimes you struggle. You work hard and you just, it's so hard. Why do I have to do this, you know? But the thing is, if you stop learning, you really stop living, okay? And so never stop learning. Just keep whatever you can soak up and gain information on. It's good, okay? And so I know I'm saying stuff and you're thinking, but Mr. Couples, this is math class, okay? Well, yeah, it is math class, and this stuff is real life right here. So moving on, taxes are important. I think the reason most people get upset with taxes is because they definitely do not want to pay something to someone else and then have them pay something to someone, you know. Hold on. All right, so we are back. I wanted to apologize for what you guys just heard over the radio. I don't know if you've heard it, but the football game was started and one of the janitors started projecting it over the radio. And in the midst of all that, my wife came and picked me up, and actually I went out to eat with her at Roadhouse. Awesome food. And so it's 9 p.m. on Friday night, and we're just getting going. So here we go. New terms, tax, which you guys are all familiar with. I just talked about a little bit ago. Gross earnings and net earnings. I don't know if you guys have covered these before, but we're going to talk about them, and you're going to really care about these someday when you actually have a job. And hopefully for some of you sooner than later, because in my opinion, if you're not actually participating in something at school, you need to be doing something to build your resume, and your resume is for college or whatever you're going to be doing next in life. And so, you know, you guys live close enough to Findlay, and I hope you guys plan on getting a job someday, because I think that's a great way to learn responsibility. Back to a tax is a charge usually a percentage that is imposed by an authority. Generally local. Okay, so you can have your school tax, where you give to your schools. You can have your, how do I call it, like the community government tax, which helps you, like I said before, with your roadways, the salt in the winter, help pay your cops, help pay for the firefighters, you know, those who help and do public service. State, obviously we have to support our state, or federal. Okay. As far as the difference between gross earnings and net earnings, your gross earnings would be how much your employer pays you before taxes, insurance, and retirement. Are taken out. Okay? And so when you've removed all of that stuff from your paycheck, okay, and I'll be honest, after it's removed from my paycheck, I'll probably show you a pay stub that I have from the school. I'm not offended by what I make. If you wanted to know what I make, you could go online and probably Google it, because I'm a public employee and what I make is known to everybody if you really wanted to find out. But what you would notice on my pay stub is this: after everything is removed from insurance to taxes, retirement, what's left over is almost cut in half. So 50% of what I actually earn actually goes to my bank account. And that earnings that goes to my bank account is what you call your net earnings. And so for my net earnings, I'm going to put this down: how much of your check actually goes into the bank after the above deductions. And when I mean the deductions, I'm talking about this right here: taxes, insurance, and retirement. Okay? And so, you know, if you have a job someday and you know, you think you're going to be making a lot of money, you can't think about your job as how much money are you making to live on today. All of those things play into it, and especially the insurance and retirement are huge. So if you can find an employer that will pay your insurance, or if you can make enough money on your own to pay the insurance, that's huge. And that's why insurance has become such a huge topic within our government these days. A lot of people have some different ideas about that, and so I listened to Dave Ramsey, and he says that the biggest bankruptable offense is not our debt, meaning credit cards or mortgages. That, you know, the biggest bankruptable offense someone can have is not having health insurance, because you do not know from one moment to the next what's going to happen. if you're in a car accident, if you have a stroke, if you know, lots of things could happen. And if you don't have that insurance, you're up a creek, you know. Clay Lenhart's dad was talking to me the other day, and he was telling me about this last summer when Clay was playing basketball, and he got a cut on his eye, and he had to go in and get some stitches. 5 stitches. 5 stitches at the emergency room. $1,000. You drop $1,000 like that. Okay? And so you have to have health insurance. It's just stupid not to have it. Okay? So insurance removes risk. It places risk in the hands of the insurer as opposed to yourself. And so it's important to have insurance. All right, moving on. Example 1, the price of a pair of shoes is $72. The sales tax is 6.5%. Find the amount of sales tax and the total cost of the shoes. Now, I'd encourage you guys as we go through these problems, if you think you can solve them, pause right now and go ahead and try to work through this first one. Then push play and then see how you did. If you have no idea, then continue to take notes and hopefully you can figure out what you're supposed to do. So, again, push pause now if you think you can solve it. When I look at this problem, there are 2 things that we have to solve for: the sales tax and then the total cost. What I want you to think of when you think of sales tax is what portion of the original price goes toward the authority. I say authority because a lot of people think it's bad, okay? And there's a lot of it that is not good. But, you know, I've already told you about that. So, my youngest daughter, Braylon, she, for some reason when she was 6 months old, would speak to me in the darkest, deepest voice. And she'd say, "Daddy." So I don't let her forget it. I keep saying, "Daddy," and she repeats it back to me, and it cracks me up. So, the authority. Anyways, you can say it with me if you want. I hope that makes you laugh. So when we see this of, okay, what portion of the original price goes towards the authority? We're talking 6.5% of, okay, $72. And we said before that of means to multiply, so I'm going to put 6.5%, remember moving the decimal 2 places, of to multiply 72 gives me the sales tax. And the sales tax in this case is $4.68. Okay? Now, how do I calculate the total cost? Well, I think it was Brady the other day said, I take a couple extra dollars just in case, and you were talking about that tax that's added on when you're purchasing something. And so total tax, I want you to think what you end up paying after taxes, the additional amount. So you have the original price plus the tax. Okay, and I know you guys are all smart enough, you know that, you know, taxation goes on to the original price. So if I take my $72 and I add on my $4.68, the purchase of these new shoes will be $76.68. Okay? All right, so it's pretty easy to calculate sales tax and total tax, or total, I wrote that wrong. Total cost. Sorry about that. Okay? Can't go back and fix that with a video. Dang it. Anyways, taking a look at the next problem, again, I would encourage you to pause it if you think you can solve it here. Jasper, hey, look at that. Earns $1,175 every 2 weeks. Congratulations, Jasper. Man, that's not bad. From there, oh, I forgot. I have a typo here. Sorry, Jasper. I know you're a man. I just changed the name, and so I forgot to change the sex of the rest of the story problem. He pays 17% in income tax. Calculate the amount of income tax he pays, again, my apologies, Jasper, and his net pay. Wow, that's bad. I'll correct that before I actually print it out for you. So what we're going to do here, we need to initially calculate the income tax, which is calculated the exact same way as we did the sales tax in the first problem. And so if I'm going to take 17% of the $1,175 that he brings in, it's going to be 17% times 1,175, which gives me $199.75 every 2 weeks. So $200, Jasper, every 2 weeks. That's $400 a month. 400 bucks times 12 is $4,800. Okay? All right, that's a lot of money to be paying in income tax. But unfortunately, the reality is, hey, two things are always going to happen in life, death and taxes, right? So, your net pay is last, and in order to figure out your net, what you're actually going to get from your employer after the taxes have been taken out, we're going to take the original check and we're going to subtract out the taxes from that check. And here's what's actually going to go into your bank account, Jasper. $975.25. All right, not bad if you are in your early 20s, okay? But if you have a family of, well, a family of 2, 3, 4, you know, less than $1,000 every 2 weeks gets kind of hard to handle unless there's another $1,000 from your spouse coming in. So it amazes me as you grow up, and you know, when I was young, I thought that $25 was a big deal. I was living good if I got a chance to spend $25. And I know that that seems like pocket change to probably a lot of you, but you have to remember that was 30 years ago. And you know, when you come from a poor family, that's the mentality that you have. And so when you start actually earning some good money, it just like, wow, what do I do with all this? Well, you find places to put it. It's just, yeah. It amazes you, humbles you, really, when you have money to spend, to save, and more importantly, or most importantly, to give if people need. So, Ethan's home, I got two Ethans in here, wonder which home this is valued at $125,000. The property tax for his home is about 1.7%. Estimate how much, whoops, I forgot to change both names. How much Ethan pays in property tax. All right, now, in order to figure out property tax, just like all the other taxes that we've been doing, property tax is a portion of the whole. And so I'm going to go ahead and take 1.7% of $125,000. Okay, wow, that's sloppy money right there. Okay, $125,000. Now, if I do that, moving the decimal 2 places again, if you calculate that out, that's $2,125 per year. Okay. Property tax. Now, here's something to challenge yourself with. Since we're talking about these new terms and everything, go home and ask your mom and dad, hey, what's your gross income? Do you mind me asking that? Now, if they don't want to tell you, you don't push buttons you shouldn't be pushing, okay? But if they can share that, what's your gross? Okay, how much do you actually take home after all that stuff, retirement? Because we were talking at school about retirement and net pay, gross income, all this stuff, and you know, how much do you actually take home from that? And You know, hey mom, we were talking about property tax. Dad, we were talking about property tax day. How much do you pay in property tax every year? You know, and I think it'll surprise you how much. Just because you own the property doesn't mean that no one can tax it. Okay. In fact, there's a school levy coming up to support the school with the elementary. They want to build a new elementary, and I'm you know, I understand it's a lot of money, and I understand, Hannah, you've said a lot that we don't need a new school, but I'm telling you, if we don't get a new school, it's very hard to continue to upkeep something that is so old and so broken down. And so I'm not trying to force my opinion on you guys because, one, I don't even live in the district. I have no money that's going to be tied back into this building, so you know, you can tell me to shove it, Mr. Couples, but if you don't remember what it's like in that building down there, I'd encourage you to go back down there and look through the building. I'd encourage you to go talk to some of the teachers down there. Why do they feel like they need a new building? And I'm telling you right now, you may think differently. So, all right, I know I've gabbed an awful lot. Here we go, last problem. Dalton purchased a pair of jeans recently. Okay, Dalton, $42. On the cheap side, kind of, for jeans. The total amount of the purchase was $46.80. What's the sales tax? Well, let me see here. Sales tax. Now remember, if it's a tax, it's usually in percent. So I'm going to put that over here as a percent. And remember, percents are usually written part over whole. And so I'm going to write down sales tax. And the question that you need to ask yourself is, what is the part and what is the whole? Well, to calculate the part, that's the difference between the original price and the purchasing price. So I'm going to put difference, which I hope you guys are understanding as the difference meaning subtraction by now. Okay? Whenever I say that word, there should be a quick switch that goes in your head, subtraction. Okay? Over the original. The whole is the original, as it originally was. So, if I do the difference, $46.80 minus $42, all of that is over the original of $42. We end up having $4.80 left over $42. And if you put that in your calculator, unless I did a mistake here when I plugged it in my calculator, you get 114,285,7143, and maybe some other digits there, but that's all I felt like writing down. Now, what's that as a percent? That's not a percent, that's a decimal answer right now. Oh yeah, I got to move it 2 places, and you can just go ahead and actually show it to the nearest tens place. 11.4% is what we're looking at right there. 11.4% taxation, which is actually kind of high. I believe that the Ohio current rate on taxation of sales is around 6.5% to 7%. The reason I say that is what is it? Redbox, I always used to remember, it used to be a straight dollar fee, and then you had a taxation, which was like $1.07, and so I believe it's around 6.5 to 7. But I'm sure you could Google that and look it up if you really want to know. So that's all I have for you guys. Again, don't forget to continue to work on your budget there, guys. Fill out those budgets. Make sure you're asking Mom and Dad daily, hey, what was spent where? How do I plug this into this? You know, and to see over a month how much it takes to run a family. Don't forget to listen to Dave Ramsey sometime, and to put your thoughts on my website there. And then lastly, the homework that I'd like you to work on for Monday will be the following. Page 276. I'd like you to do numbers 18 to 21, 30 to 33, and 38 to 40. All right, hey, you guys have been a great audience. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you learned something over the last couple of days, even though I wasn't here. This is all new to me, making this video stuff up, but I hope it wasn't completely lame, Ethan. And so have a great weekend. Get that homework done for me, and we'll check it over on Monday. I'll see you guys.